What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the 5 Takeaways. We're going to take a look at our loss, our third loss in the space of a month to Chelsea without scoring, and we're going to see what we can take away from the game. And the first one that we're going to look at is Spurs at arm's length.
So Tottenham yesterday had the lowest touches in the opposition box since losing 3-0 to Crystal Palace back early in the season in September. That's the only other game this season we've had less. We really did struggle to get up the pitch and really hurt Chelsea, and they really did have us at arm's length throughout most of the 90 minutes, and I think that stat pretty much shows we only had 10 touches in the opposition box throughout the game. So
10, wow.
Yeah, so against Palace it was 3, which is a lot worse. But yeah, I think Chelsea kept us at arm's length throughout the 90 minutes, and we never really, apart from obviously the goal which we should have scored, never really got close to them.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you saw the lineup, I mean, you probably could have said that before the lineup, when the lineup came out, you know, when we got Doherty on right wing, Tanganga right back, Davis left back, and Sessegnon left wing. I mean, Sessegnon is probably the only player out of those 4 which you think is going to get forward and actually produce for us, and that's exactly how it planned out. So I think Conte was probably had his hands tied behind his back with the injuries and what have you. That they definitely played a big part in it. But let's move into number 2, and that is decent Winks.
So Harry Winks, despite being on the losing side, didn't put in the most terrible display, at least statistically wise anyway. Despite the defeat, he made 1 key pass, which was second on the pitch, 4 interceptions, which was top on the pitch, obviously 1 shot on target, 1 accurate cross and 1 accurate long ball as well, which is doesn't sound like much, but compared to the rest of the team out on the pitch, was actually pretty decent. So he was probably one of our better players on the day, but it doesn't say much.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I think the key takeaway from the takeaway is that the rest of the team were pretty poor.
Yeah.
So he just wasn't as poor.
Yeah, but usually he would be the worst of the worst, wouldn't he? So at least he's improving that aspect.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Let's move on to the third takeaway, and that is feeding off scraps.
Yeah, and this goes to the front two, who really were isolated throughout the whole 90 minutes, and it was really hard to see because when they did get on the ball, I actually think Bergwijn and Kane looked decent, but unfortunately they just didn't get enough of the ball. Only Matt Doherty had less touches than Kane and Bergwijn of players who played 90 minutes, and they had the least passes on the pitch, Kane having 19 and Bergwijn only making 13 passes throughout the whole game. Really not a lot at all.
How many touches did Bergwijn had in total?
Yeah, I think 23, I think it was. But despite that, Bergwijn did have 4 dribbles, which was the most of the pitch. No one had more dribbles than Bergwijn on the pitch. He also had 2 shots, while Kane managed 2 key passes, 1 dribble and 1 shot of the possession they had. So despite seeing very little of the ball, they managed to do a tiny bit with it, which showed if they could have got more involved or got the ball to them a lot more, they could have maybe produced something, which obviously Kane nearly did at the end of the half, but which got ruled out. So it's a shame that it turned out like that, but I don't think they played badly individually. They're just feeding off scraps.
Yeah, completely true. Completely true. I mean, you could see it, even not just the stats, but the eye test. You could see that they were, very short on kind of passes to them. They were very much isolated up front. I mean, we covered it to death in the player ratings and stuff like that, but you could see both of them were having good games whenever they got on the ball, but they were just isolated, complete isolation. Let's move on to the 4th takeaway, and that is left struggles.
Yeah, so Davis and Sessegnon, I thought, particularly yesterday, struggled very badly defensively to contain Chelsea. They definitely targeted that side to attack. I thought Mason Mount was getting a lot of joy down that side, and obviously they got the first goal from that side, but as well, them personally, they both had a passing accuracy of 50%, which is the lowest on the pitch by far. They only made 1 tackle, no key passes, and obviously the first goal was coming down that side. So I thought the combination was pretty poor of Davis and Sessegnon, and that side was definitely a massive area of weakness, I thought, throughout the game.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. And I said it that Ben Davis, he's looked at home in the left side of a back three, and yesterday he played at left back, and pretty much he reverted back to what he has been as a left back as the past couple of years, unfortunately. So I think it's imperative that we keep him at the left centre back role, that's for sure. But let's move on to the fifth and final takeaway, and that is all is not lost.
So it was a very bad defeat in terms of being a London derby, and it was obviously
third time in a month.
Third time in a month. A defeat that hurt. Of course, it always hurts to lose against your rivals. But in terms of our season, the league position, 2 points off of fourth place Man United with 2 games in hand, 1 point off fifth place West Ham with 3 games in hand. Level points with Arsenal with 1 game in hand. So with Romero and Son to come back after the international break, and with potentially 1 or 2 new signings as well, there are definitely reasons to be positive about the second half of the season, what we can do. So despite a bad defeat to Chelsea, all is not lost when it comes to the league table.
Yeah, all is not lost, but we need signings in this chance window if we were going to kind of solidify our place in this top 4 and in the top 4 race. I think we can do it without, but it's going to be extremely hard. It's going to be extremely hard when you look at the fixtures. I know everyone's got to play everyone still, but the thing is that we need to go away to all the big clubs still. We need to, now Chelsea's out of the way, we need to go away to Man United, we need to go away to Liverpool, we need to go away to Man City. So these 3 games are going to be extremely, extremely difficult, which means we have to be spot on in the games against the kind of lower sides. So top 4 is going to be a big ask, in my opinion. It's going to be a big ask, but I think we can do it if the other teams keep kind of like squandering their results. But I do got a feeling that Man United are going to have a stronger second half of the season than they had first half. So I do think it's between us and Man United, but I think Man United just about edge it, just over us, just at the moment.
I'll have to wait and see.
We will have to wait and see. Let's hope I'm wrong. But that is our 5 takeaways. I'd like to see your 5 takeaways and your comments on our takeaways as well in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.